Hello, screenwriters, and welcome to Writing for Screens, the screenwriting step-by-step project. Episode number 121. My name is Glenn Gers, and I am here every afternoon, if I can make it, Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, showing you my step-by-step process going through a script, writing a script for a TV drama pilot in order to talk you through the process, the day-to-day, building scenes, rewriting scenes, working on your outline, all of that stuff that is the everyday process of writing a script. It is not the only process. It is not the best process. It's just the one that I have worked out in 25-year career writing movies and TV shows. I thought it was helpful to me when I figured it out. I think it might be helpful to you. If it's good, good. If it's not, don't use it. Figure it out for yourself. The more different ways that you learn how to do things, the more skilled you will be. Figure out your way. I'm just going to show you, let you look over my shoulder, share my screen as I do this and talk my way through what I'm thinking and what I'm doing, hoping it can help you. That's what we're doing. We have gone through writing the outline, figuring out the story. Then we wrote a rough draft. Now I am just finishing going through that rough draft, making notes in the outline for the next draft, the rewrite, fixing all the problems in that rough draft. That is a rough draft. It is 50% too long. It is 90 pages. It's supposed to be 60. The scenes often don't go where they need to go. That's okay. That's part of the process. You just get something down and then you can say, oh, look, I say the same thing in two different scenes. Which one of those is the right one? That's actually where we are today. The character of Madeline, our main character, really, she's got 4 or 5 major scenes where she covers where she is in her life. And I haven't really figured out that progress through the pilot of where she is emotionally and intellectually in those different scenes. You want it to be a story. Everybody has a little story in each episode. And I had a lot of ideas and I just threw them in there, roughly what I thought was a good idea. Now that I'm looking at it, the most important thing that you can do is to figure out each character's story within the big story. And I'm going to show you a trick to how to do that. Hello, Natasha. Okay, so here's the trick. What we are going to do is take our outline and make a copy, okay? Then we are going to mark it Mad Outline. Okay, so now I'm going to open this. I'm going to open it. Gosh darn it. Yeah, we're going to open this up. Now, this is the whole outline for the entire script. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out every scene that Madeline is not in. All right, so these scenes, boom, gone. Madeline arrives. Madeline talks to Xena. Then we see Norman. We cut him out. We have Xena and her group, and we cut them out. Watch this. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. Dundosky is there. Boom. Now, Norman tries to reach Madeline and she ignores his call. We leave that in. Norman goes to search for Madeline. She's not in it. We cut it out. Okay. This is a scene between Dundosky and Madeline, so we leave it in. Yeah, this is kind of there. Okay. Norman puts... Okay, Xena heads out to Pennsylvania. No. Boom. Oh, look, people have shown up while I've been working. Hi, Janae. Hello, Rachel. Hello, I write. Hi, everyone. Nice to see all of you. What I am doing here, for those of you who just tuned in, I made a copy of the outline. I made a copy of the outline, which I am now calling the MAD outline for Madeline, not for angry. And I am going through it and I am taking out everything in the outline that Madeline is not in. Boom. Which means when I can work through this saying, this is Madeline's story. This is Madeline's life in this story. Everybody who's in a script, they're living their own story. They're traveling on their own track. And what happens is they crash into each other, they bump into each other, and they change the course of each person's story. But if you are Madeline, you only are traveling on your track. You only know your track. So sometimes when you're trying to understand where a character is in this episode, when in the story of the episode for Madeline, sometimes it's nice to just go through it on her line. Throw out everything else. Don't worry about anybody else. Just... Okay, so these are all scenes, but then Xena... Boom. Okay. This is there's not there. Okay. And this calling that. Okay. So, all right. Now we have a version of this outline which is only Madeline's scenes. Hey, Phil. So now, especially in this case, when you have a lead character, their outline and the story's outline is a lot of it. You're not really like, sometimes you'll take a secondary character, you cut out everybody else's scenes, you just got 4 scenes. In Madeline's case, we've got a lot. So what I'm going to do is take out all of these notes that are about writing the scene that don't really have to do with Madeline's feelings. And so what I can do now is I can sort of tell her story as I go on. Now, in this outline, what I'm doing here is I'm taking out everything, like in the outline currently that I'm working from, there's a lot of things to do notes. Make this scene better, da da da. In this case, for this outline, I'm not giving myself a list of things to do. I'm just trying to straighten out my understanding of where this character is. So therefore, I'm going to take out all the stuff that isn't relevant to that. Because that way I can just look at it as a line, as a story. It's like trying to say, like, when Madeline goes from scene to scene, she's on her own track. She's like, I'm trying to deal with my problems, not all the other things that we're setting up. Okay, there's a tree trimming truck outside. You may hear that. I apologize. All right. Okay. Mad singing. What you are currently hearing outside, they are wood chipping a tree across the street. Not my tree. I mean, not the tree outside my house. All right. Now, this is where we get into the really messy stuff, the stuff where I do not know what it's about. So let's just try and get to this. Okay. So in Madeline at Work, turning out this is I have that scene. I understand what it is. Now in this next one, that's it. There it is. What? Now this is the first one when she comes to meet the cop at the crime scene. First bit of backstory. All right, so I haven't figured out what that is. Mainly, it's that is very distracting. This was all a long time ago. George. George was a long time ago. It doesn't have much to do with me. That's really kind of what her attitude in this first thing is pretty much, not letting it in. Not letting it in. That is the key. Boom. Okay. Then, after they leave, she's kind of like, this is actually right. Okay. Then when Xena calls, what I'm trying to do is now say, like, if I was in Mad's shoes, if I was Madeline, and this is a really important thing to do now and then, to say, if I was this person, what would I be thinking and feeling? And not just grabbing randomly, but to say, and this is why you want to do it in the context of the whole story. You want to say, considering we met her here, we met her in, I'm locked in, I'm happy, just don't bother me. And then something undercuts that, takes her and puts her in the deep end of a frightening, confusing thing. Her first reaction is, not me, it's denial. Of there's 5 steps. The first one is denial. Then we see her alone, and there's the sense that she of a teeny bit of vulnerability, and her reaction when Xena calls, because Xena's like gushing. Oh, this is what I'm picturing is like, I don't know who you are. I don't want this. I don't want to know you. That she's thinking. Now the question is, and I think it might be good to look at the scene itself here. Sometimes you need to check what exactly, because I haven't really reread these scenes a lot. Let me make this readable to you guys. Oh yeah, I made that bigger. Okay. So Xena calling. That's gonna be. Okay, yes, here we are. This is the scene that we're talking about. So Xena calls, and Madeline is like, "Who are you? What is it?" And Xena's gushing, blah blah. And you worked on cases, and Madeline's saying, "Oh yeah. I loved George," and she's trying to figure out what Madeline knows and doesn't know. So she's kind of grateful to have a sympathetic ear, which really fits with Xena's story, because Xena's modus operandi, Xena's game is always to be the sympathetic, to be what people need, to appear to be helpful and friendly. Um, but then way too much. Yeah. Grateful for a sympathetic ear, because that's shorter, and that way we get it on one line, and I always like that. Actually, one of the things about this outline that's different from my usual outline, I have this set, in order for you guys to see it on the screen, I have this set at 18 or 16 point type. It's big. Usually I would be doing this at 12 point type, and I could fit so many more words per line. All right, so so then it's like, sorry, it's all too much. When she doesn't answer Norman's call, it's just Mad ignores Norman's call. Boom. Okay. Let's put. I'm going to put this in this green because I need to track where we get the not just what's the point of this scene, but where do we get her heart? Where do we reveal the little core of Madeline in the pilot? The point about the shape of the pilot is we are going to take Madeline from safe, dishwasher safe corporate drone to I am involved in a serial killer hunt with a lot of wackos. So I need to chart the steps where we do that. To do with me now. Okay, so the point about this is what I put in all caps is it's just not me. It's I am not connecting. This is not me. Because by the end it's going to be, yeah, I'm in this. So then she's like, yep, okay, nope. She's saying no. She is saying no. That's cool. You can have several beats where somebody's on the same track. I said this. There's a one of my videos. Don't think I have. Oh yeah, this one. That's not right. That isn't it. I have a couple of. I have a video where I talk about story, and one of the things I talk about is a concept here. I'm gonna talk to you straight for a second, just me and you. There's what I call character physics, which is complete nonsense when it comes to actual physics. But there is a rule in physics, which is an object in motion, famously originally postulated by Isaac Newton as a billiard ball, a pool ball on a pool table. His point was, if you hit a pool ball with a pool on a pool table, it will roll in it will move in the direction that it was hit by a force to go. So an object in motion will continue in motion until it is stopped by something. Now that something may just be inertia. It's like if it just keeps going long enough, it'll slow down and stop. But realistically, it keeps going until it hits something. It'll hit another ball, and then it'll go off in another direction. Or it'll hit a wall and have to come in another direction. That's how characters work. When we meet a character, they're somewhere. And then something happens to get them going. And in this case, it is she gets a call that George is dead. So now she is rolling on the path of deal with George's death. And her way of dealing with it is, not me. I am out of this. And then she meets Norman. Boom. And it goes off another way because she meets the drug guy. And he opens up a door to let out some emotions. And then then she's going in a different direction. She's in the spewing her emotion direction. She's still following that same original energy, but she has had a collision with someone that has changed the direction of the energy. It's still the same feeling. That's how characters work. When you have a character, once you start them rolling in a certain direction, they'll keep every scene they show up in, that's where they are. They are saying, I'm rolling like this. And then if some other character comes in and hits them, hey, want some drugs? Boom. All of a sudden, her role of, that's not me, I'm not having any feelings. Drugs, whoa. And all of a sudden she's like, I'm letting out my feelings. That's still the same response to, what are you going to do with these feelings? The first role was, I'm denying them. The second role is, I am exploring them. The third role is, I am meeting this person to whom I can share them. So these are the sections of her story in this thing, in this pilot episode, just in this episode. Hi, Emre. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you. I don't believe we have ever seen you before. Okay. Right. This is cool. Okay, so far so good. We've gotten to here. This is correct. She is not feeling her feelings. Now, this is when she lets out a feeling, but the feeling is actually enforcing the denial. It's not really the feeling. Yeah. See, all right. So, is this making sense to you guys? It's making sense to me, so I'm going to keep doing it. So what I'm doing here is, as I track this now, I can read a story. It's a very telegraphed bulletin point story, but this is a story. And as I can see her, it's logical and it's proceeding in one direction and getting knocked in certain ways. So then Dundosky interrupts the feelings that are coming out. And I think I will spell first in the English language. Interrupted. Okay. All right. So she's interrupted, and it's new layer of deep nutsiness provokes a determination to stay out. Well, Larry, I'm glad. You take care of what you got to do. Don't you worry about me. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, so then Dundosky Okay, so all right. So far, let's keep our so far so good intact, because as you can see, so far we've been doing so good, but we're about to hit huge sections where I have not figured this out. Okay, so this is the first indulging feeling. She's indulging the feelings. Now, the thing about this is that we know under all of these scenes, there is like a ticking time bomb of feeling. She's saying, I don't want to have feeling. I don't want to have feeling. No, screw you. I'm not going to have feeling. And we know that sooner or later, because this is the way stories work, that feeling's going to come out. And that's what happens here. Boom, unexpected bump from her plan. And she starts indulging feeling. Okay, that becomes chaos. Chaos. That's just simply like, what the heck is happening? And I would not say heck, except I'm trying to preserve my YouTube ad status. What the heck is that? All right. Which, you know, if you've been in a safe place and all of a sudden you're getting your life shaken up, and then you go crazy and it gets even more shaken up, that almost feels predictable. It's like, yeah, I kind of knew this was coming. This is an interesting question. Does it make the story better if your protagonist and antagonist have a connection or are related somehow? Well, I mean, honestly, they have to have a connection or be related somehow, or you're not going to have a story. If they don't ever meet, if they don't have a connection in some way. But I think what you're saying is, what if they have a previous connection? If before, whatever making them proto and antagonistic is not giving them a relationship, they have another relationship. And the answer would be, it can, or it doesn't have to. That's not the only way to say, does it make the story better? It depends. Depending on the story, that could be good. In some stories, that's not good. Some stories, it's better if the antagonist is some outside force that they have never had to deal with. It's not a rule. And this is another one where I think we have to have a little face-to-face talk. There are no rules. there are no, like, this will always make the story better. Ever. There's no such thing as a thing that always makes the story better. Even my favorite things do not always make every story better. The only thing, there is nothing that is absolute, all stories should be this. That said, almost all of those, this could make a story better, they're a useful tool to have. And I really believe in think of your writing as plumbing. You are taking on a job to get something done, to get the water in and out of this house, of these rooms in this house. And so your job is to figure out the specific needs of that story and to know every possible type of pipe and valve and connector and meter that you can use to steer the water. And then you can look at the job and say, in this case, having them have a past connection will help get that water pressurized there. But does it always help? No. Can it help? Yes. Okay. So Norman and Madeline meet. Okay, so this is where she is stoned, he is injured. She's hi, he's injured. And they have things to talk about. So that's the thing that she's doing there is she is recognizing a fellow outsider, feeling a connection, trust, and even attraction. This is what this scene is about, is that even high and even confused, she's recognizing there's something about this guy that's different from everybody else I have met so far, which we also know because we've seen him being different. He has a different interest in this encounter. Everybody else is caring about George and George's mess, and Norman cares about Madeline. That's actually Norman cares about Mad, and she gets that. Okay. Okay, look at that. I know what my scenes are about. Okay. Actually, this is, yeah. These scenes are kind of in a sequence, and therefore their stuff goes sort of blends in. Okay. Okay. Okay, actually, let's do this. Connection plus trust plus feelings equals love. They connect. This weird pileup of circumstances makes them love. I believe that is what it is. Okay. Uneasy, but they do not want to part. Okay. Yep, that is definitely what's going on here. You're welcome, I write. Okay, now this is where it gets interesting. And this is where we're going to actually have to look at the text to figure out what is going on here. So let me get down to this part. Okay, this is actually down here. Okay, we're just scrolling here. We're trying to get to the scene where, okay. Here we go. Okay, so Norman wakes up. He's naked. Where are his clothes? Turns out she's washing them. So he talks to her. She says, okay. All right. So he gets. So now we're in this breakfast scene, and I'm going to kind of lay out the beats. Beat 1, she's making breakfast, so he sits. Okay, that's the first beat. The second beat is So in this making breakfast, so he goes along. Then like basically she's forcing a normalness to the morning. But then, so that's talking about what do you like eggs? Good. They're good. And then he tries to talk honestly about what happened. He asks about her feelings. She confesses shame. Because that's it. She's feeling like, I don't usually just sleep with a stranger. To console her, he confesses life shame. In other words, she's saying, this is awkward. I never do this. So he says, well, I always do this. So that's like, he's like up in the shame. He's trying to say, you're not so bad. I do this all the time. So then that means that, and then that means that she he tells about bad loves. She is now uneasy. So in trying to make her feel better, he told her something that actually makes him look bad enough that now she's like, ooh, maybe I shouldn't have done this. So that's the next beat of that scene. And, you know, actually that's then right at the end of that, food is served helps cover awkward, then panic over poison. Okay. And that's the scene. That's all we need. We don't have to go further than that. Like, so what happens is this scene is about her being uncomfortable. Then he lets out a whole personal hunk. So that's all we're going to get. All we're going to get from her, and in this thing is her confessing her uncomfortableness, which means, okay, so. Good. Look at that. Now I know what this scene is. Have I lost everybody? No, you're all still here. Cool. Hi. Ask questions if you have them. So now this is the scene, which is this is just a disaster area. They go to the diner. Now, what I'm going to do is do the beats of the scene as they exist, which are a mess, and then I'll try and figure out what we actually have to get into this scene. Oh, crap, this is terrible. All right. So beat 1. This, nice. I forgot trauma. So we need a comfortable beat to open. Then this is nice. I forgot the trauma. But then she gets into, I am in over my head. Oh, yay. Okay, good. Cool. So here she's saying, she goes back to, I didn't know this, George. I'm in over my head. This was the past. 3. He empathizes feelings. She gets defensive on feelings. That's cool because what happens is he says, well, you might have feelings. She's like, of course I have feelings. What do you think? I don't have feelings? And it's that's not a bad beat. And now we have a long bit about the past. George, what was George was cool but dangerous. She left to save herself. Okay, that's what that says. Then, well, let's just take this up. This is just terrible. This is just a terrible beat. This whole thing about maybe we can solve it. Boom. Then 5. She abruptly leaves. Why? Okay. So this is currently the beats here. I don't know that that will stay. Okay. Please explain why terrible? Why the scene is terrible? Oh, yeah, I can explain that. Okay. The reason that this scene is terrible is because it's random, unconnected beats. What happened was, when I was writing this scene, I simply had a big list. The outline was not well thought out at that point. And I had put in a lot of possible things that they could talk about. Because what happens is, I had set up this story in such a way that these two people are being brought together during the whole first half of the story. And then they come together, and then they have this opportunity to reveal themselves. Into that opportunity, I just put in everything that I could think of that they might reveal. But I didn't choose what they needed at this one moment to specifically one thing reveal. And so therefore, that scene had too many pieces in it. Like, one was Norman offering to say stop the serial killer. That's just, it's not it doesn't follow from any of the other things that are happening. So that's why this scene is currently terrible. When you say, why do I think it's terrible? Beat. Do you mean, please explain why it's a terrible beat? Do you mean the word beat, or do you mean that particular beat? The answer for that particular beat is, the reason that that beat is terrible is because it's inconsistent with everything else Norman has done. Okay, we have met Norman, and we have seen that he does not like what this group is doing. We have learned, or we will learn somewhere in here, that Norman is not authentically a cold case hunter. He's actually joined the group in order to criticize them in a book. So to have him suddenly say, oh, I think I'm going to do that thing, which otherwise he has consistently said, that's not a thing people should do. Give that to the police. That's what's wrong with that scene. Okay. All right. Boom, boom. Let me know if that didn't explain what I was talking about. So now, so what we have here is the next really important beat that we need to get to is that she's realizing she wants to change her fearful life. Um, that is an important. Yes, exactly. That's the whole point about doing this, because what I'm doing here is I'm like the main use of the outline for me is as a workspace to keep track of everything I can possibly put into this, notes for myself and bits and pieces of all the different stories. Sometimes if you just want to track one story, you make a copy like I'm doing, and then you strip out everything so that you can just look at their story. And then it becomes very, like I said, there's the character physics. They're starting on a path and this is how you experience a good story. When you watch it, start to notice this. When you watch something, you're actually doing this. You're actually making an outline in your head. You're like, oh, I see. This person, they're living, with their aunt because they don't have any money and their aunt is taking care of them, but their aunt wants them to marry for money. Ah, I see that problem. Oh, in this next scene, she meets a poor guy. Uh-oh, that's going to be a problem for. So each beat of a story is like clicking off a little part in the audience's head. Ah, this has a central meaning. That's what's so different from life. In a story, in a conventional story at least, things are put there because they have a meaning and this happens because that happens. That is not how life works. That's why we watch stories. Okay. Yeah. Okay, good. I'm so glad. Yay. All right. So now we have the problem that she walks out of this room abruptly. And I have not legitimately come up with a reason why. So this is unfinished business. Boom. Okay. And this is unfinished business. Norman has to be entertaining her in some way, because she's going to say, oh, thank you, you distracted me. So either it's going to be talking about the crazy group, or more talk about his crazy relationship history. Yeah. And or his book. Okay. Which is but at the same time, I really hate to go on and on about his relationship history. I don't know. This is something I have to decide later. But I know that there's going to be a beat to open in which Norman is relaxing her and they're getting to know each other. Hello, Malaika. It is nice to have you here. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. Great to share. Cool. All right. So now the question is, why does she leave? There's a missing step here, because she's talking about the past. That would not make her abruptly like, I can't handle this. That's not enough. So let me see what else I've got coming. See if maybe something can be moved. Let's see. Let me read this. My husband was okay. This is just repeating it. Okay, I don't want to hunt serial killers. That is good stuff. I like the I don't want to hunt show. That is really cool. See, here he talks about I'm writing a book. Now, he told her that already. And in fact, this opening beat might be able to be about that's a thing to do about the book. Let's see. Oh, yay! Yes, live. And if you have a question, ask it. Well, we only have a few minutes, but yeah, if you got any questions, now's the time. Ask them now, Malika. Or, of course, you can always, and everyone should know this, you can always just ask a question in the comments. Just on any of my videos, you ask a question. I will try to get to it within a day or two to answer it as best I can, or I'll put it up in here. Okay, so good beats. Good beats are. This is, yeah. This is an important beat. And then she talks about how she's feeling like she kind of wants to shake up her life. Why is there so much space on that page? Hello, flying over trout. Good to see you. Somewhat on time. Yeah, I've got about 8 minutes here, and then I'm going to be closing it down. So what I'm trying to figure out here is there's a couple of beats. There's the beat of I want to change my fearful life. That is a revelation. And the end of this last beat is wanna hang out. And that's good. That's really cool. So I know that this scene is heading towards her freaking out, leaving the diner. Outside, she says, I'm so shaken up, I'm recognizing that I can never go back to my old safety. That's the point. Can't go back in her shell. Maybe he wants to change her. Yes. Yes, it's certainly yes. Let me show you what I got here. My documents. What I've got here is I have the text. That is the actual script. That's this thing, the script. Okay, that's the text. Then I have an outline. The outline is a scene-by-scene list of everything, a summary of what's in the script, scene by scene, summarizing the point of the scene, and then notes to myself, what things to do, things I want to remember, bits and pieces, whatever I want to have in there goes in the outline. What I am doing currently is a character outline. I made a copy of this outline, and I took out everything in it that wasn't Madeline's story. So that's how I can work on this outline, just following Madeline's story. That is not rewrite notes. The notes are actually, what happens is when I read it, when I go through and I'm reading this script, scene by scene as I'm reading the script, I opened a little word processing document and I typed notes. The scene in the diner, and I just would write scene in the diner. This is confusing. I like the bit about her fear of flying, whatever it is. Then I took all of those notes and I put them into the outline. That's what we were doing all of last week, is taking those notes and putting them into the outline so that everything is in one place. All of your notes are in the outline so that when you're rewriting, you can just say, this scene in the outline, that's what I want to rewrite. This is the things I should do. These are the things I should cut out. These are the things I want to remember. Whatever it is, it goes in the outline. Because then when I do the next draft, scene by scene, I can just turn to the outline and say, what do I have to do here? What's my job for this scene? That's how I like to do it. That is my personal approach to documents, is I try to have as few as possible. Also, this might help you. There's a whole video in my tools and skills, screenwriting tools, skills, something like that. You will find this video, how to organize a project. That explains this basic idea of setting up just a handful of documents, very, very few. I think that there's really 5 basic ones, so that you can sort out everything and have a place to put things that you will only think of them in the terms that they get used, which is in the overview, it's just big picture stuff. This is what I think about this character. I'm judging them from afar. But everything else, pretty much, you want to keep putting in the outline, because the outline then becomes your workspace and your things to do space. And when you get it done, you delete it out, save a copy, but you as you're writing, you delete it out, and that way you keep your head clear of this is what's left to do. That is my use of an outline. Not everybody's, all sorts of people have outline theories. The thing I like about mine is it keeps me from wasting time writing stuff that is not going to be in the script. The outline is just a list of scenes. Anything that is in the outline has to be in one of the scenes. So if you have an idea like, oh, I want to talk about the romance of detection, then write scene where someone talks about the romance of detection, and somewhere or other you're going to have to fit that into one of the scenes of your story. Always working in the outline helps you to do that. So, yay, hooray, that's good. And thus, we are coming up on an hour. We are at 58 minutes. So I think I'm going to be winding down and saying, I'll see you tomorrow. We're going to do more of this. We are going to solve these problems. That is the job. And in the meantime, I hope you guys will go write something. So, you ready? Go write something.